Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Dangerous Seed, a Namco arcade classic. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From publisher Namco, Dangerous Seed released to arcades in 1989. It would see a port to the Sega Mega Drive the following year, though that port only remained in Japan. So this title came as a surprise to me, as it's a Namco shoot 'em up that I wasn't familiar with, so definitely on the more obscure side. It has some really neat and interesting ideas, especially if you like titles like, say, Moon Cresta and Terra Cresta, but the game itself also has a lot of flaws to it, which kind of make it so that I can't fully recommend this title. If you're a fan of late 80s shoot 'em ups or of Namco shoot 'em ups, then this is one is worth a try, but maybe it's best saved for when there's a sale on the Arcade Archive titles. That said, putting some coins in the machine, we're taken to the start screen here. One thing to note, this game does support 2-player, but it's not simultaneous, it's 2-player alternating. Starting the title, there's an awesome option that you can set in the settings for the game itself. You can have it select your stage, where you can choose from stage 1 to 4, or you can just start the game without the stage select turned on. It's nice having that stage select option present though. So a little bit of what just went on there. So the whole plot is that we're the pilot of this fighter, the Moondiver. We're launching from Earth, rather at this point actually escaping from Earth, escaping from the tube as it's referred to take on this alien species known as the Danger Seed, hence the title of the game, Dangerous Seed. But in order to escape the tube, the Moondiver separates into 3 separate ships. The Alpha ship, the Beta ship, and the Gamma ship, each with slightly different abilities. So the idea is that we're trying to survive through the first 4 stages. Once we complete the first 4 stages, it's basically like we've escaped Earth and the danger there. The 3 ships, or the remaining ships, can combine, and you can continue your counterattack against the alien invaders of the Danger Seed. So that's the really interesting concept, and where I say that the game bears some semblance to titles like the Cresta series. So real quick, we've made it to our first boss, and just take in this boss for a second. I really like the designs that this particular game has. In addition to that, there's all this destructible like parts of these enemies. As we blast through the bosses, you get down to this point where all it is just flailing around. Boom, taken care of. So that's the basic idea behind the game and what's going on with the systems. Now let's talk about the individual ships. So you start out going through the 3 ships. This is the Alpha ship, and its main weapon is this straight laser. In addition to that, it has a special weapon, all 3 of the ships do, and in this case it's this ring laser, where we fire a whole bunch of these semi-homing rings that do a fair bit of damage to the enemy. In addition to having the ships themselves, each ship has a shield, so those shields will like absorb enemy shots. It is possible to replenish those shields by collecting energy capsules throughout the course of the stage. Those are in the big orange glowing bugs, and when you collect them it'll say energy capsule. There's also an additional special item that we can pick up, this one here, the Hyper Booster, which does refill our shields as well as advances us through part of the screen. One thing to note in that, if you destroy enemies while you're moving faster getting to the boss, you will gain additional points. However, if you like collide with an enemy when you're not in that Hyper Booster state, or you lose all your shields, it will be game over with that particular ship. Then you move on to the next one. So now we find ourselves piloting the Beta ship. The Beta ship has, instead of a straight laser, it's kind of a V spread, which is actually pretty powerful and really effective if you can keep an enemy in front. But the lack of spread is a little bit more difficult to use. It does have one more shield bar than the Alpha ship, and for a special weapon, It's the Melt Missile, which you did see me use once. This is a rather effective and powerful homing missile. So this one directly homes in on the enemies, and there's this circular explosion that moves out from the explosion. We'll get to the last ship here in a second, the Gamma ship, as I talk about a couple other things. So one thing that I found was interesting that's not really covered in the much documentation I could find about the game. The game has a leveling system for your main shot, and that seems to be tied to two things: what stage you're starting on, and also your score. So the higher your score, it seems like that you've earned with that particular ship, the more powerful your weapon becomes. So you pilot a ship for a longer period of time, and you'll get a stronger main weapon. Energy capsule here so we can refill some of our shield strength, which is good as I have already taken a couple shots. So the third ship, the Gamma ship, has a powerful hyper bomb as its special weapon. And when you combine together into the Moondriver, that's the special weapon you have. To be honest, of the three, I prefer actually the Ring Laser the most, so it's a bit disappointing that you can't select what special weapon you're using once you combine in the Moondiver. It just happens to be the one off of the Gamma ship. The Hyper Bomb here. And that's basically the core of Dangerous Seed served up for your enjoyment. Should you get a game over, it's possible to, well, after you put your initials in, it's possible to continue the game, and you can select which stage you wish to start on. In most situations, you would want to start on the furthest stage possible, and after you've reached stage 5, you can start with all 3 ships combined. So, say we just make it past stage 4 with just the Gamma ship. If we were to continue in stage 5, we would have all 4 of the ships combined as the Moondiver, something that's actually pretty awesome. And as far as, well, that was kind of highlights one problem that I feel this game has. So there are some issues that the game has. It does ramp up a fair bit in difficulty with enemy shots and patterns. With a little bit of practice, you can definitely learn those. But at the same time, it can be a little bit difficult to do so. And one of the things that makes it so tricky is you don't have any invulnerability between taking shots. So it's actually possible if you were to be, say, unlucky and with the Alpha ship, you've hit 4 enemy shots at once, or rather 3 enemy shots at once, that's it, and the Alpha ship is already gone. Because there is no vulnerability and you can take multiple hits at once. A bit of a design oversight in my mind. That's one minus flavor. Another is there's this klaxon that continually goes off when you're on your final shield. Something that was quite annoying. Hamster in one of their previous arcade archives did have an option to turn that off in that particular title, but unfortunately there are no options present like that in Dangerous Seed. And then the last minus flavor I have for the title, there's no ability to continue your game once you hit the final stage. So, if you happen to make it all the way through stage 7, but you're on basically your last shields, I would probably recommend stage 7 being the second to last stage. I would probably recommend the rather extreme measure of just losing your life and continuing so you can finish the stage at a higher life total, as that would make taking on the final stage significantly easier. But as far as the plus flavors are concerned, so I really like the idea of the game itself, where we've got these 3 separate ships that we're trying to escape planet Earth with, and then combining them together into one powerful ship once we hit outer space. just that like concept and the whole execution is just a really fun idea to me. But the difficulty that's like present in the game itself does ruin that a little bit. And then one element that I think is really neat is the boss design in the game is something that I feel really stands out. So the Dangerous Seed themselves are very like insect or bug-like alien enemies, and I am not doing well here at all. And it's really neat to see what they did for the larger bosses with that design in mind. So, once again, this is a title that I can recommend for fans of the late 80s shoot 'em ups and for Namco shooters, but overall, if this doesn't look like your jam, then it's probably a safe skip, unless maybe you're able to pick this one up on sale. Well, alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.